A single dad was handcuffed for a crime he didn't commit, right in front of his terrified little daughter. But only hours later, the same officer who made that mistake found herself trapped and fighting to stay alive. What he did next changed both of their lives forever. Before we continue, tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? By 8:15 that morning, Callum Hart had already burned the toast, lost one of his daughter's red sneakers, and promised her he would still get her to school before the bell. His 6-year-old daughter, Maisie, sat in the back seat of his old blue pickup, hugging a paper lunch bag to her chest like it was treasure. "Dad," she said, "you forgot my apple." Callum glanced at her through the mirror. "I didn't forget. It's hiding under the sandwich." "That means you forgot and fixed it." He smiled tiredly. "That is called parenting." It had been 3 years since Maisie's mother left, and Callum had learned that fatherhood was mostly a long list of small emergencies. A missing shoe, a late bill, a school form he found at midnight. He worked as a roadside mechanic in Brighton, Massachusetts, taking calls nobody else wanted, the ones in rain, snow, or bad neighborhoods after dark. He was not impressive on paper, but he showed up. That morning, he stopped at a corner pharmacy because Maisie's teacher had asked for tissues for the classroom. Callum parked quickly, left Maisie buckled in with the heater on, and jogged inside in his gray hoodie. He noticed the tension before he understood it. A cashier stood pale behind the counter. A display of cold medicine lay knocked over. Near the door, a woman whispered into her phone, her eyes fixed on Callum's hoodie. He paid for the tissues and turned toward the exit. That was when 2 police officers stepped in. The first was Officer Serena Vale. Late 20s, calm face, sharp eyes, dark hair tied back under her cap. She looked professional, controlled, but there was a strain around her mouth, like she had been carrying too much for too long. The second officer, Owen Pike, kept his hand near his radio. Serena looked at Callum's hoodie, then at the black pickup outside. "Sir," she said, "I need you to stop right there." Callum frowned. "I'm just buying tissues. Hand where I can see them, please." He slowly lifted both hands. "My daughter's in the truck." Serena's eyes flicked toward the window. Maisie's small face appeared above the doorframe, confused. Callum's voice tightened. "Please don't scare her." Serena stepped closer. A man matching her description just threatened the cashier across the street and ran this way. "That wasn't me. I need to confirm that." Owen moved behind him. Callum swallowed, humiliated before anything had even happened. "Officer, you can check the cameras. You can ask the cashier. I was here for 2 minutes." Serena's face did not harden, but it closed. "Turn around." Through the window, Maisie pressed her tiny hand against the glass. "Dad!" Callum's chest cracked at the sound. He turned slowly. The cuffs clicked around his wrists. Nobody shouted. Nobody made a scene. That somehow made it worse. The quiet made every stare feel heavier. Serena guided him outside. Maisie was crying now. Callum kept his head turned toward her as far as he could. "Baby, listen to me. I am okay. Stay in the truck." "Why are they taking you?" Serena heard it. For 1 second, her expression shifted. Not doubt exactly. Something softer. Something human. Callum looked at her. "Please, let me talk to my daughter." Owen said, "Not right now." Serena hesitated. Then she opened the truck door and crouched just enough to meet Maisie's eyes. "Your dad is going to stay right here while we ask him some questions," she said gently. "You're safe." Maisie looked past her. "Did he do something bad?" Serena paused. Callum watched her answer matter more than she expected. "No," she said carefully. "We don't know that. It was not enough. But it was not cruel." At the cruiser, Serena checked his wallet. Callum Hart. Local address. Emergency roadside license. A folded photo of Maisie in a yellow raincoat. Then the pharmacy cashier ran out, waving both hands. "Wait," she called. It wasn't him. The man ran behind the building. Different shoes. Red backpack. "I just saw the security video." Owen muttered under his breath. Serena went still. Callum closed his eyes. The cuffs came off a minute later, but the mark around his wrist remained. Serena stood in front of him, holding the metal cuffs like they suddenly weighed too much. "Mr. Hart," she said, quieter now. "I made the call too fast." Callum rubbed his wrists. "Yeah, you did. I'm sorry." He looked toward Maisie, who was still crying in the truck. "Don't apologize to me first," he said. Serena followed his eyes. For the first time that morning, she looked ashamed. Serena approached the truck slowly, like one wrong movement might break the child inside it. Maisie had tucked herself into the corner of the back seat, her cheeks wet, her lunch bag crumpled in her lap. Serena lowered her voice. "Maisie, I'm sorry I scared you." Maisie didn't answer. Callum stood a few feet away, arms folded, jaw tight. He wanted to take Maisie and leave. Every part of him wanted that. But there was something in Serena's face that stopped him from making it easy for her or cruel for the sake of it. Serena swallowed. "Your dad didn't do anything wrong. I should have checked better." Maisie looked at Callum. "Can we go now?" Callum opened the door wider. "Yeah, sweetheart. We can go." Serena stepped back. But before Callum climbed into the driver's seat, Serena said, "Mr. Hart." He turned. She held out a small card. "If there's any complaint you want to file, my badge number is there. I won't argue it." Owen glanced over sharply, as if she had said too much. Callum took the card. "You always hand these out when you mess up?" "No," Serena said. "But I should." That answer stayed with him longer than he wanted it to. By noon, Callum was under a delivery van outside a closed bakery, fighting a rusted bolt while rain tapped against the pavement. He should have forgotten Serena Vale by then, but he kept seeing the way she had crouched beside Maisie, the way shame had crossed her face without defense. Most people protected their pride first. She had not. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Callum Hart," a woman said, breathless. "This is Officer Vale." He froze, wrench in hand. "How did you get my number?" "From your roadside card." "I am sorry. I wouldn't call unless." A loud metallic crash cut through the line. Then her breathing changed. Callum sat up fast. "Officer Vale, I'm on Route 9, near the old underpass. Patrol car was hit. My radio's damaged. I called dispatch, but the signal keeps dropping." Callum's body went still. "What happened?" "A truck lost control in the rain. I swerved. My door's pinned against the barrier." She tried to stay calm, but he could hear pain under every word. "There's fuel leaking from the other vehicle. I can't get out." Callum looked at the gray sky, then at the van still half repaired. "Are you alone?" "My partner went after the driver before the second slide happened. I don't know where he is." The line cracked. "Serena," Callum said, and the use of her first name surprised them both. "Listen to me. Turn the engine off if you can." "It's already off." "Any smoke?" "No, but I smell gasoline." Callum was already moving. "Keep your phone on speaker. Don't waste breath." "I'm coming." There was a pause. "After this morning," she said softly, "I didn't expect you to answer." He grabbed his keys. "I didn't either." The drive took 7 minutes. It felt like 20. Rain blurred the windshield. Traffic had slowed near the underpass, headlights glowing through mist. Callum saw the patrol car first, wedged at an angle against the concrete barrier, its front end crushed but not destroyed. A delivery truck sat sideways nearby, hazard lights blinking weakly. People stood back, filming from a distance. Nobody was close enough to help. Callum parked hard, grabbed tools from his truck, and ran. Serena saw him through the cracked window. Her face was pale, one hand pressed against her ribs. "You came," she whispered. Callum crouched near the door, scanning the damage. Save the emotional speech. "I'm still deciding if I like you." Despite the pain, she almost smiled. He checked the frame. The driver's side was pinned. Passenger side jammed, but possible. The patrol car had an older reinforced cage divider behind the front seat. He could not pull her through without cutting or bending something. Sirens sounded far away, but not close enough. A thin line of fuel crawled along the wet road from the truck. Serena followed his eyes. "That's bad, isn't it?" "It's not good." Her breathing quickened. Callum leaned closer to the window. "Look at me." "Not the fuel." "Me." She did. For the first time, Serena Vale did not look like an officer. She looked like a tired young woman trapped inside a mistake, trying not to be afraid. Callum softened. "You got family?" "My mother. She still calls every night to ask if I ate dinner." "Then you're answering that call tonight." Serena blinked hard. He worked fast, using a pry bar and socket wrench to loosen the bent divider bracket. Rain soaked his hoodie. His hand slipped twice. each second stretched thin. Callum, she said, voice shaking now. Yeah, I joined the department because my father was arrested once for something he didn't do. I thought if I wore the badge, I could be careful enough to stop that from happening to someone else. He paused for half a breath. Then he kept working. This morning, she said, I became what I hated. Callum looked at her through the broken glass. No, this morning you made a mistake. That's not enough. No, he said, it isn't. But what you do after it matters. The bracket snapped loose. The divider shifted. Callum reached in. Serena, I'm going to pull you through the passenger side. It'll hurt. She gave one small nod. A spark snapped somewhere near the truck. The crowd gasped. Callum's voice dropped, steady and firm. Eyes on me. Serena reached for his hand. This time, she was the one in need of trust. Callum braced one foot against the passenger frame and reached deeper into the crushed patrol car. On three, he said. Serena gripped his wrist, her fingers cold from rain and shock. 1. The fuel smell thickened. 2. A siren grew louder beyond the underpass. 3. Serena cried out as Callum pulled her across the bent center console, but she didn't let go. Her shoulders struck the passenger seat. Her boot caught under the dashboard. For one terrible second, she was stuck. Callum leaned in farther, rain running down his face. Serena, listen to me. Bend your knee. Slow. Don't fight the pain. I'm trying. I know. You're doing good. Her breathing broke, but she shifted just enough. Callum freed her boot and dragged her through the passenger side as 2 firefighters reached them. Together, they lifted Serena away from the cruiser and carried her behind the barrier. Seconds later, smoke curled from the delivery truck's engine. No explosion, no movie-style fireball, just a dangerous, ugly hiss that reminded everyone how close it had been. Serena lay on the wet pavement, staring up at Callum as paramedics checked her ribs and leg. Her voice came out thin. You saved me. Callum knelt beside her, soaked, exhausted, hands scraped raw. You stayed awake. That helped. She tried to laugh, but it hurt. Owen appeared from the far side of the underpass, muddy and shaken. Vali. Serena turned her head. I'm here. Owen looked at Callum, that the cuffs marks still faint around his wrist. Shame crossed his face too, but he didn't know what to do with it. Callum didn't ask for an apology in front of everyone. He just stood and stepped back as the paramedics loaded Serena into the ambulance. Before the doors closed, Serena looked at him. Is Maisie still scared of me? Callum thought of his daughter's tearful face against the truck window. Probably, he said honestly. Serena nodded, accepting it. Then I'll earn a better memory. At the hospital, Callum planned to leave after giving a statement. He had a daughter to pick up, a van job unfinished, and a life that did not have space for complicated women in uniforms. But as he reached the exit, Serena's mother, Diane Vale, stopped him. She was small, silver-haired, and trembling with gratitude she was trying hard to control. My daughter said you came even after she wronged you, Diane said. Callum looked through the glass wall of Serena's room. Serena sat upright now, bruised but stable, speaking quietly with a supervisor. I came because she called, Callum said. Diane studied him with tired, kind eyes. That's not as common as it should be. Later that week, Serena arrived at Maisie's school with permission from the principal. Not in uniform. No bike. Just a navy coat, a soft scarf, and a small paper bag. Callum stood beside Maisie near the playground fence. Maisie hid slightly behind his leg. Serena crouched, the same way she had that morning, but this time she placed the bag on the ground between them. I brought the tissues your dad bought, she said gently, and a new apple, because I heard somebody's apple was hiding under a sandwich. Maisie peeked out. That was mine. I know. Serena's smile was small. I'm also here to say I'm sorry. I scared you. I scared your dad. I made a decision too fast. Maisie looked up at Callum. He didn't push her. After a moment, Maisie stepped forward and took the bag. Are you better now? She asked. Serena blinked, surprised by the kindness. I'm getting there. Maisie nodded seriously. You should still eat dinner. Your mom worries. Callum covered a smile. Serena looked at him, and something passed between them. Not a grand romance. Not some sudden fairy tale. Just the first quiet spark of trust between two people who had seen each other at their worst and still found something worth respecting. Over the next month, Serena filed her own incident report. She recommended changes in how witness descriptions were handled. She apologized again, publicly enough to take responsibility, privately enough not to turn Callum into a headline. Callum never became famous. He didn't want to. But when his truck broke down outside the school one rainy Friday, Serena pulled up in her personal car and rolled down the window. "Need help, Mr. Hart?" Callum leaned against the hood, pretending to inspect the engine. "Depends. You know anything about alternators?" "Not a thing." "Then you're useless." Serena smiled. "I can buy coffee." Maisie popped her head out of the truck. "Dad likes coffee." Callum gave her a betrayed look. "You're supposed to negotiate for me." Maisie grinned. "And Officer Serena likes you." The reins softened around them. Serena's cheeks colored, and Callum looked down with a smile he couldn't quite hide. A few minutes later, the three of them sat under the small awning outside a corner cafe, while Callum waited for a tow. Maisie drank hot chocolate. Serena held her coffee with both hands. Callum watched the rain trace silver lines down the street. Nothing about that morning had disappeared. The fear, the mistake, the cuffs, the shame, all of it still existed. But so did the apology. So did the choice to help. So did the quiet possibility that people could become better after the worst moment of their day. And when Maisie leaned against her father's side, Serena looked at him with warmth in her tired eyes. This time, nobody needed saving. They were simply safe.